APC for Abia Central Senatorial District in the 2023 National Assembly elections, Sam Onuigbo, has assured his people that his legislative activities in the National Assembly would be a pace-setter for the transformation of the state if elected. Onuigbo, who stated this during an interactive session with Abia Media Forum, said his mission to the Senate is to maintain and continue the good work he started doing for Abians when he was in the House of Reps, declaring he had volunteered to lead the struggle for good governance in the state from the Red Chamber.
Add my years and add the things I've been able to do. Then you now juxtapose that against those who say, I have this, then try me and do this. Try you on what? Over the number of years you've been in government, what have you been able to do? So it is up to the electorate to do that. And it is also more important, up to professionals like you people who have the chance to cross-check for them to be able to advise and encourage the electorate, this is the way to go. Otherwise,
the former member of the House of Representatives stated that he is not impressed with the development in Abia, adding that one can only easily travel from Umuahia to Uyo to catch a flight without hitches, and also planning to dualize Umuahia-Umudike dualization project for over 2 years even as the design is ready.
I'm not impressed, and that's why I have been able to facilitate something like that route where people are now finding it easy to travel from here to Uyo to catch their flights without getting stuck on the road again. That's the major road. I have also been able to work with the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to get a road that will create a flyover at that tower, be a flyover from Amachara to Sam, and then there'll be a dualization from there to what they call Umuahia-Umudike dualization project.
Our correspondent, Chidema Ugwebekwe, reports him as saying that he is determined to recover and transform the nature of representation from its current medieval status, advising Abians to verify his work when he was member of House as criteria in voting for him. Nigeria has fallen 4 places from 154 out of 180 countries and territories in the latest ranking of the 2022 Corruption Perception Index released by Transparency International on Tuesday. Although the country maintained its previous score of 24 out of 100 points in 2022, it fell to 150, according to the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, which aggregated data from 8 different sites. The latest ranking on the level of corruption in the public sector indicates that the CPI index for the country has remained consistently low in the last 10 years, while the lack of transparency in Nigeria's security sector has weakened the country. According to the Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, Awal Rafinsinjani, the ranking, which comes less than a month before Nigeria's general election, is not intended to make Nigeria look bad or unresponsive to the corruption challenge. The group further asks the electoral body, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), to play its role ensuring the smooth conduct of the elections in a fair and free manner according to the Electoral Act. The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria has lauded the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, for the role that he played in securing an upward review of the long-stagnated salaries and allowances of Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) workers. MWUN, in a press release signed by the head, Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, Olajide Oshundun, also expressed appreciation to the minister and his management for their selfless service to the labour subsector of the nation's economy. The leadership of the union expressed their profound appreciation in a letter to Ngige and signed by the Secretary General, Comrade Erazwa Boniha, further conveyed his unalloyed promise to continue its partnership with them and in tandem to their drive to ensure that Nigerian workers get better welfare. The union then encouraged the Labour Minister to continue this stead as they put a lot of trust in him, assuring that they will continue to do all they could to provide collaboration and support for him and his ministry. You're still listening to Crowder Radio, 145 FM News, your award-winning station. The news continues after the break.
100% love, 100% pure. We got the love. 104.5 Love FM.
Welcome back. This is still Crowder Radio, Family Love Station. Remember, your vote begins to count when you stop sending your permanent voters card. Show vote buying today. Now to the rest of the news. The federal government has again raised the alarm over the increase in the use of fake news and disinformation to destabilize the electoral process and plunge the nation into crisis. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the worrisome trend is being perpetrated by destabilizing agents, some of them linked to the opposition. Mohammed, who made this known on Tuesday in Abuja at the 21st edition of President Muhammad Buhari's Administration Scorecard Series 2015 to 2023, organized to showcase the achievements of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration, featured the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Deniel Diala. Mohammed said the increasing wave of fake news and disinformation permeating especially the social media space in the run-up to the general election threatens danger. He recalled that he reiterated the same challenge at several fora, including two previous editions of the Scorecard series, and reassured that the government would not stand by and allow some miscreants with access to phones and data to destabilize the country. The federal government says it has provided grants to over 280 export-oriented businesses through its Export Expansion Facility Program, EEFP. It added that this has resulted in the creation and preservation of over 100,000 direct jobs and an additional 20,000 jobs for youths and women. This is according to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Deniel Diala, who, while speaking in Abuja on Tuesday, said that since the establishment of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, in July 2016, Nigeria has become a country with a high ease of doing business rating. Speaking while presenting the ministry scorecard, Adebayo added that the industry, trade and investment sector is critical to the growth and development of Nigeria's economy, job creation and poverty reduction.
We take very seriously our role of engendering confidence in economic activity. It is therefore not surprising that we have played a central role in delivering on the economic component of Mr. President's 9-point agenda. To properly appreciate our achievement, it is useful to get a picture of the situation when its administration came into office in 2015.
On the ministry's achievement, Adebayo said it successfully disbursed approximately 785 billion naira through the Bank of Industry to over 10 million MSMEs. He said this was made possible by Bank of Industry expanding its capital base to $5 billion with international partners such as Afrexim and Credit Suisse, among others.
The effect of this intervention clearly shows up in concrete terms, such that we have delivered a compounded annual growth rate of over 12% in the value of exports. I am pleased to announce that we have started seeing the impact of the 15 billion naira Export Expansion Fund program. In Q4 of 2022 alone, Nigeria witnessed exports of $1.4 billion.
Away from that, the Economic Community of West African State, ECOWAS, a community court of justice, has bemoaned the lukewarm attitude of government in the region to obey and enforce its decision on cases brought before it by aggrieved citizens. The court, while declaring the attitude as unfortunate, lamented that its effectiveness had been circumscribed by the disregard and disobedience to the decisions. President of the court, Justice Edward Amaoko Asante, who spoke at a public function of the court in Abuja, noted with sadness that only 30% of the court's decision have been enforced despite its impressive record of decisions and courage attributable to the independence and character of the judges. Justice Asante, who spoke at the new building of the court in Abuja, recalled that for about 10 years, the court engaged the Nigerian government to secure a replacement for its old office in Wose, which he claimed had become hopelessly inadequate for its operations. The judge, who said that the court had its way partly in 2016 when the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, through intervention of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, pledged to rent a new office for the court to ease its persistent accommodation problem, thanks to the Nigerian government through the Federal Capital Territory for fulfilling the promise by allocating a temporary place for it at Kudu district of Abuja. On to business. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Tuesday gave assurances that Nigerians will not lose their money in the implementation of the nation's cashless policy and the new Naira cash swap. Governor of the CBN stated this when he appeared before the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on cash swap policy headed by the leader of the House, Ado Dogua, said banks will continue to accept old Naira notes after the February 10 deadline. Emefiele, who in his presentation noted that the introduction of the new Naira note has helped curb insecurity and banditry, further revealed that out of the over 2.7 trillion Naira outside the banking system in 2022, 1.9 trillion Naira has been recovered by the Central Bank of Nigeria since November 2022. The Apex Bank boss also faulted some commercial banks, accusing them of breaching the guidelines given by the CBN on the distribution of the new notes, saying the Apex Bank is now working with anti-graft agencies to monitor the flow of the new notes to the people.
Directives to the banks to load the new notes into the automated teller machines, the ATM nationwide, to ensure an equitable and transparent mechanism for the distribution of the new notes to all Nigerians. Unfortunately, and indeed, I addressed the bankers on Sunday, and I expressed to them my disappointment. The new Naira, instead of
Correspondent Oluwakema Kindness reports the chairman of the ADO committee, Alhassan Ado Dogwa, was expressing concerns on the ripple effect of the policy on Nigerians, the economy, amongst others.
Our major concern, Mr. Governor, is about the lives and livelihood of the Nigerian people. Our major concern is about the critical situation of the Nigerian economy. The concern of the House of Representatives is about the protection and guidance of what we call the rule of law under a democratic system. This House, by all standards, has the constitutional right, and by the operating rules and guidelines of the House, we also have the official power, the constitutional power, to invite any agency of government to interface with their officials about policies of government, because government is about good government.
You will recall that the House had last week, Thursday, threatened to invoke relevant sections of its rules to arrest the CBN governor over his failure to appear earlier before the committee. And that is a news package on Nigeria done. But just before we go, another look at the highlight of our top stories. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Tuesday gave assurances that Nigerians will not lose their money in the implementation of the nation's cashless policy and the new Naira cash swap. The federal government has again raised the alarm over the increase in the use of fake news and disinformation to destabilize the electoral process and plunge the nation into crisis. And we also told you that the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, has bemoaned the lukewarm attitude of government in the region to obey and enforce its decisions and cases brought before it by aggrieved citizens. And that's a news package on Nigeria done as edited by Chidema Ugoipokwe and the production crew. For comments and observations, do call us on 08061378824 or send us an email loverfilmnewsweek@gmail.com. To join the live streaming, log on to www.loverfilmabuja.com. Good morning and thanks for listening. I'm Deniel Diala. Up next is the newspaper review segment. We'll be right back shortly after the break. Stay tuned, please don't go nowhere.